How are you delighting your sponsors?
Ooh. Do you think your small business can attract valuable sponsorships? I don't know. But guess Justin Pearson does. Founder and CEO of Proper Patriot is a master of creating value-based propositions and putting on events that provide an unrivaled sponsorship experience, even against bigger competitors. Learn how to wow your potential sponsors and supporters during today's conversation on the 15-ish minute coffee chat. Ah,
Yes.
yay. Hi, Anna. I missed you this
Good morning.
weekend.
I know. I was out camping this weekend, but it wasn't just like camping. It was like a leadership conference
Yeah.
at a campground, which is awesome, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm working on improving my leadership skills, working on improving my communication and listening skills with the tarantulas that live in Texas, which
Yeah.
I am slowly coming to terms with tarantulas being part of my life now that I live in Texas and since I love to camp. So
I'm going to tell you, Anna sent me that picture and I was like, nope, 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 no, in every way that you could say. I am a Hawaii girl. We don't have snakes there. It's all in a zoo. You know what I mean? And the spiders we do have are definitely not tarantulas. Those are in the zoo. So, anyway.
We're excited to have a conversation today about sponsorship and small business because a lot of times I think small businesses don't think that they have the power to attract sponsors to support events or activities that they're doing maybe within their community even.
Yeah.
And so we have a call to action for anyone that's out there listening right now.
Yeah.
Do you think your small business can attract valuable sponsorships?
Yes.
So just drop it in the comments. If you're listening, just give us a yes or a no, or if you've tried it before and had no luck, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
We'll remind you as we go throughout this conversation, but that's one thing I want to know.
Yeah.
Do you think your business has the power to do it?
Yeah, no, I just did like a small little reel this morning on Instagram. And I was like, I think the conversation Justin is going to share with us today can apply to people that have podcasts, that do live streams, that are nonprofits. I don't think there's a limit really to how you can apply some of the things he's going to share. So I'm really excited, really excited. So
let me read this bio for us.
You got this, Anna.
So Justin is the founder and CEO of Proper Patriot LLC, a veteran-owned patriotic apparel and coffee company that provides American-made apparel, veteran-roasted coffee, and annual Veterans Day fishing retreats, and the following services: print on demand, coffee on demand, brand on demand, and end-to-end full-service fulfillment for companies, organizations, military units, and entrepreneurs with any apparel, printing, coffee distribution, or build your brand needs. So Justin served in the U.S. Army for 20 years, earning a Bronze Star, the Sergeant Audie Murphy Medallion, and many other prestigious awards for his exemplary service. His combat tour was in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. So let's bring Justin up and say hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Justin.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Selena, Anna, great to see you. Thank you so much for having me on today.
I'm excited for today's conversation, and I think you're gonna. I just feel like we should just jump into it. Go get our coffee.
Super nervous.
Selfie. Are you? I don't know. I'm nervous. Do you want to know what I did for you today? I wore a polo for you, Justin. I don't know. I was just trying to put my best shirt forward. I got my little brand on there. So I'm sweaty. I'm nervous.
I love it. And the backdrop is perfect. You guys are awesome. And Anna, don't forget to be awesome.
I know, right? It's my favorite thing. Okay, let's go take our, I got Niagara Falls today because we're going to have a plethora runneth over of stuff today. So on 3, we're going to hold up our little mugs. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Ooh, life is good, right, Justin?
I love your coffee cup mug. Life is good.
Yeah. All right, let's get him in the hot seat. All right, let's get going. Let's start this, Anna.
Okay, so Justin, we have a couple of questions for you today. Like we were talking about earlier, sometimes it is really difficult for small businesses to know what to do or how to create sponsorship packages. And so our first question for you is, how do you create a valuable sponsorship proposal as a small business owner?
That's a great question. Thank you so much, Anna, for bringing this up. And, earlier in this discussion, you shared this isn't just for sponsorships. This is events, this is podcasts, this is live streams, this is things happening in the community, right? So take a minute to just level set. Hey, this isn't anything special. We're going to talk about a lot of basics here today that each and every one of you know. They're probably in your kit bag. We're just going to talk about how are we going to use them and execute them properly. I would say within any event, before we get started, backwards planning is a must. What I find is a lot of other business owners that I'll interact with, they kind of, hey, we'll do this 45 days, before the actual event. And I would say, try to start as early as possible, 100 to 120 days before the event. So you can sit down, right, and map out your planning session for the event or for multiple events that you're having, over the period of the next year. First and foremost, you want to craft your why. Why is it important for either individuals to come be a part of your event, i.e. your audience, or sponsors? Why is it important for that sponsor in their world, right? So stop, take yourself out of, what you think is important and think about it from their perspective. How is this going to be extremely important and impactful for those that are going to sponsor? So focus on that why, then jump into the how, right? I think there's a variety of different layers when we start thinking about the how, okay, and how your audience will be impacted based on this event, as well as how the sponsor could be impacted. How is it team building, right? In their sponsorship to be a part of their event, it might not be specifically a solution that they want to buy or a resource that they need, but they may be using the event as a team building for their organization. It may be reception and integration if they were a nonprofit, right, for a new employee that's coming on, and they're providing them, familiarization training with an audience or with the service that you're providing. They could also be looking at it from the perspective of, if we're a sponsor of your event or a sponsor of your podcast, could I potentially attract talent that you probably never had thought, wow, there's organizations out there that will jump onto a podcast where, they're hoping that they can attract, maybe someone with, a specialized background in information technology, or it may be something as simple as providing a solution, right, to the audience or to that sponsor. Last but not least, I think when you're developing these packages, okay, so when you're developing the packages, it's important to be able to showcase what is it that the sponsor is actually going to receive. We shared the why, we shared the how, we probably shared many impact statements and success stories, right, that are going to make up this sponsorship package. But the what is the kind of the pre and the post plan, right? I would develop several tiers of different types of sponsorship packages, so you can give them the choice at the lowest possible entry level up to potentially a title sponsor of this particular event. And because they're a title sponsor, if it was this podcast, right, you're going to talk about their organization for every coffee chat over the period of the next 12 months. That could be one example. But I would identify what are the specific elements to that sponsorship package for them. What are your thoughts, Selena or Anna?
So, okay. So
yeah.
While you were speaking, I was writing down the tips in this ticker down below, because I was like, this is so good how he's laying it out, right? So I love the very first thing you said. Your very number one tip was talking about just like, it was starting early, right? Because so often it's like a last minute, like, oh, I wonder if I could get, right? And this should be part of your marketing plan, I think, from the start. Like, I want to sponsor. let's figure out how that needs. How much time would I need to? Who would I reach out to? How can I network? LinkedIn is a great place, I think, to start that process for networking. And then the second one is, what is your why, right? That's what you said. What is your why? And I was like, ooh, that's good. Because for every event, there should be a reason behind it, right? What's the whole purpose of it? Why are you doing it? If you're just doing it just to do it and it's not a good part of your business plan, it is probably a waste of time. And no sponsor is going to grab onto something that you can't formulate a why behind.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted to jump in. My favorite, and I like Anna, I was like ferociously writing down this one, but I didn't think about the awareness in the how. Where for most sponsorships, it's been, oh, it's team, it's awareness, or it's just an attracting. But when you said like attracting talent, team building, I was like, oh, that's like another thing I hadn't really thought of in that way. And I thought, like, oh, that's brilliant, right? Like, I have a bunch of clients right now that we're talking about trying to attract talent for them. And this is a way to do it by including that in the sponsorship. Oh, it's that was my favorite thing.
It was the impact. He said it's the impact that it will have on the sponsor. And that's not something I ever really thought about in terms of sponsorships before. Like, what they'll get recognition, they'll get their brand placement, they'll get,
a tax write-off
on a t-shirt. They'll get their tax write-off. We'll put their logo on our webpage, whatever those things are. But being able to identify the impact is really the reason behind, I feel like, why a sponsor would say they
and they need the reason. They need to hear the reason. They already know it's important. Like, for example, hey, on Veterans Day, we're going to have 250 veterans out in Stark Henry, Virginia. It's going to be an amazing 2 days of fishing, of campfire networking, right? And enjoying the great outdoors. However, right, a sponsor also needs to know, okay, we're going to be a part of this, right? What internally, do we need to be able to identify that's going to make us feel more comfortable with being a sponsor of that particular event, right? Every organization is trying to build a culture within that organization, right? And they have to prove themselves, leaders to prove themselves to their employees, right? And take action by saying, this is the culture that we're providing, right? And if we are serving veterans, what a better way to be able to take your employees out of the office for a day, have them on the ground, at a campfire, talking to veterans, understanding their background, maybe assessing them and building relationships. So it could bring on that new military, a recruitment individual or whatnot, right? So it's just something to think about as they're trying to build this brand awareness, this new culture, right, in today's day and age, and prove to their employees, hey, we're all about it. We're going to do things that are going to be full, within this military space. And so I share that with you because, we're going to have organizations out there that are looking to do these similar things, as well as I have to think about, okay, prior to the event and after the event, how am I going to continue to elevate these organizations? And it could be something as little as, a virtual quarterly mentorship panel, right? I mean, but it takes an hour of your time, right? But you're trying to be able to provide valuable and meaningful dialogue with your sponsors and with your audience to be able to elevate them and educate them, elevate and educate, right? So that's one aspect of just thinking about it before you dive in to the actual, like, okay, how are we doing this? What does this look like when we're going to create a content distribution plan, or we're going to shape this roadmap, right? This journey over the period of the next 120 days. How do I want to deliver this information? Well, let's take a step back for a second. How could I deliver it? Should I deliver it, in a attraction type of state? Because when you're thinking about different content categories of how you deliver your message, there's 4 different A's, right? Within your content delivery. There's attraction, right? Within attraction, you are providing general awareness, right? It's information that's meant to be shared. It's very valuable. It's very meaningful. It catches their attention. And then you have the next layer is that authority layer, right? And within the authority layer, that helps you position your brand. It gives you credibility, right? And it allows you to showcase your expertise within your niche, whether it's I do live streams or I do community events. You want to be able to show yourself as credible and valuable. So an organization's like, wow, I really like that, right? There are different types of ways that you're delivering these messages. It's, from a different viewpoint. Under that, you have affinity, right? This affinity layer where, now you're sharing relatable content because you've built, this voice that is trustable, that's believable, that your audience values. They know who you are, right? And so it draws them down deeper into the funnel, which, at the bottom, you have that action phase, right? So there's 4 A's: attraction, authority, affinity, and action. And in the action phase, that's the only place that you should really tie a business goal, to that. You're trying to lead an individual, whether it's the consumer or the sponsor, to something, right? That is going to be valuable for them, i.e. your proposal landing page, right? And you'll see that in the link that I believe Anna will drop, on our Proper Patriot website, right? So I use Proposal.io to be able to shape the right type of message and show videos and show pictures to be able to properly attract and tie it to an action, tie the sponsorship to an action. So also in that action phase, it could be through email signups, right? It could be you're leading them to a survey, or maybe they're downloading your sponsorship guide and then there's an email, right, for them to reach back and email you. So knowing and understanding within those 120 days, okay, how am I going to sprinkle in the different types of content categories, and how I'm going to share this voice within these categories will help you properly position what types of content you actually deliver, right? Blogs, social media posts, email marketing campaigns, the copywriting that goes on your website, on your proposal page, in your emails, et cetera, et cetera. It could be podcasts, live streams that you're delivering this information just like we are today, right? Infographics, ebooks, and different types of lead magnets that will help draw people into the brand awareness, into the, hey, this is the event and this is when it's happening. Let's become a sponsor today. So I'll stop there. I know that was a lot. I'd love to hear your take on it.
I want to mention this, right? Because you did say funnel. And so I think, right, I want to mention everyone we pitch and propose is not going to say yes, right? So don't give up, right? Keep kind of doing what Justin is suggesting, because we all know, right? Even when we're selling something, right? We advertise to, here, look, I'm going to go back. I worked in the restaurant industry and we were taught in sales. Always ask if they want cheese on the burger 100 times and maybe one will say yes, but it's the yes that said yes to the cheese, right? Like, what if that one yes was the title sponsor,
yes,
right?
Cheese, extra cheese.
Extra cheese. So I guess because I think everything is what you're saying is like, oh, it's so spot on, right? But remember that it is a funneling process, because that's what Justin said, right? Mm-hmm. It is a funneling process. So just know that sometimes it's not going to be 100% yeses, but it's that one cheese that's all you need. That's all you need. So
I will add to that, though. The other thing I hear Justin saying really has to do with making sure that you know the audience that is your sponsor, right? So you listed off like 20 different ways that you could provide a service to a sponsor. So, if you're talking to someone and you're You're like, I love infographics, but they're like, infographics, what is that going to do for me? Right? You really have to think in the mind of your sponsor, like, what is it that will benefit their business? What is it that they're going to latch onto and say, ooh, that could bring me that new recruit,
Yep.
that brand awareness I want, get me into that community circle I've been trying to. I mean, when you were talking about sitting around the fire, getting to know veterans, I was like, I want to sign up. I want to go.
Come
Right?
on over.
Right? Because that speaks to me. That's my kind of thing. I mean, I just spent 4 days in the wilderness with tarantulas camping around fires. So for me, that's a really fun. That's an activity that sounds fun and enjoyable and something that I want to be in that space for. And I think that's a huge part of it is knowing what your sponsor is going to see and be able to feel that, ooh, that attracts me. That makes me want to be there. My employees would see that as something that would benefit our company culture in that way.
Yeah, it's a morale booster in a sense, right? By providing the sponsor an event for their employees to attend that they might not have been able to get to like work closely and not just attend, right? Nobody, but now you're there and you get to be part of this event and be the reason why it's fantastic, right? You get to play a part in it. And there's so many wonderful things.
Yeah.
Honestly, that one was like seriously the best thing. I never thought about it in that way of, the volunteers using that as a team building and as a gosh, I'm gonna keep saying it. It's like that's a great one.
Yeah.
And
So
and
go ahead,
and from
Justin.
the
Yeah.
yeah, from the perspective, we talked about a variety of different ways that we can share this message, right? And sometimes you'll find that, if you're sending a LinkedIn message or an email and you're just not getting traction, right? Change it up, right? Being able to showcase a video, right, on your LinkedIn or a video when you send through the DM option of LinkedIn and you send them, a nice personalized 60-second, 90-second video, just, being able to provide general awareness, right? Valuable, meaningful, and impactful information that is going to get them thinking. You don't have to say, hey, are you ready to be a sponsor, right? But giving them these knowledge nuggets and sharing with them very simply, hey, look, this is the opportunity for you to make an impact not only across your team, right? Because how hard is it in today's day and age to actually do something outside of the office that everyone is having fun, it's relatable, and it's something that they're going to remember and they're like, wow, that was just so awesome. Every one of you
Yeah.
that are listening right now, are thinking,
Yes.
how do we do this, right? And that's what you want to create, and you're going to create that end result based on putting together and mapping out your content plan and doing
Yeah.
so at that 120 days before the actual event. And then there's some tips that if we have time I would love to share. So
Yeah.
back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so our second question for you today was really about that experience, right? But I
Yeah.
feel like we've kind of covered
Mhm.
that. So can I just wing it and throw something at
Nope.
you that
Let me touch a little bit on the experience piece
Yeah.
that we
Okay.
may
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this. I would love to see this in the chat. How are you delighting your sponsors?
Ooh.
Give me some ideas. I would love to hear that. How are you delighting?
Gosh.
How did you put a smile before the
Yeah.
event?
Yeah.
Before it even happened, what did you do? I would love to hear it. Drop it in the comments below. And
Ooh.
then what are you doing after the event, right?
Yeah.
There are so many really, really cool ways to make yourself memorable. It could be something as simple as an electronic e-card, right? Before the event to be able to share like how excited you are that they're a part of the event and they're going to be there. That could be an
Yeah.
example. Maybe it's a handwritten note that you took the time and you did it in cursive, you mailed it,
Yes.
put the stamp on it, right? And you mailed it. And we went
Yeah.
old school on it, right? And
Yeah.
they're like, wow, this is awesome, right? So, and then maybe it's cookies, maybe it's cupcakes, maybe it's your own company branded nice little cake that you sent to them, thanking them, giving them that sweet feeling of the event, of the experience, and they're going to tie that, that experience, or hey, maybe it was you gave them some cool company swag, or you had a lunch delivered to them there in their office, and it had a nice little personal voice greeting in that of thanks.
I
Just a
love
few
that
ideas.
so much. Anna and I just recently did a T-Rex video that I'm sure will delight sponsors next year for this organization that will say, look at the dedication of the members in this. I mean, it was a nicely done video, but it's, when you were talking, I was like, yeah, what? Okay. I love all of the ideas you just said. Door dashing, cookies, all the things.
Yep.
And just to clarify, the idea here is that you're telling this is your way of telling the sponsors, thank you for supporting. Because
Yes.
the experience is really the event itself, right? But now this is their experience in being part of your event.
It's before and after.
Yeah.
It's pre, it's during, and it's post. You have from the day that you start interacting with them, you're providing an unrivaled experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to help in that sponsorship retention for the following year, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's much easier to retain those sponsors than find new sponsors, right?
Yeah.
So make sure that you're delighting them, not pre, during, and post, and then as well through the year.
I mean, that just takes us back to like our website show that we had about user experience, right? You have to think about their journey from beginning to end, and then hopefully you're cycling them back, right? So that they're going to come back to another pre, during, post. So I love that, because you're right though. There have been some organizations that I think they drop as soon as the event is done, and there's no post, so there's no nurturing and no continually delighting the sponsor so they come back.
So it sounds like this is something that you should be thinking about year round. Like, it shouldn't just start that 120 days before. If you've got a sponsor from last year, letting him know, hey, we planned the date. We're so excited. Can't wait to get you on board again. Hey, we've got this cool swag coming. I'm sending you a keychain, whatever. Sending you keychains so you can see what we've got, branded for this year. Like, really thinking through that process of continuing to nurture that relationship you've developed.
And
that's part of that content marketing plan. When you hit the nail on the head. You have to sit down and you have to shape that welcoming and nurturing campaign. Welcoming for your new right sponsors, and your nurturing for those that are continuing to support you and support your audience. So what does that look like? I mean, for those of you that may not understand email marketing, there are so many platforms out there, MailChimp, Klaviyo, right, that you can jump into those specific platforms and you can lay out, hey, here are 6, 12, 18 different posts that I'm going to create and develop. They're going to be automatically sent out to, potential sponsors, or to my new sponsors. You would have 2 different journeys, right, for each, or 1 for each, right? But every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, they're getting a little nugget, in their email, right? And they know, hey, it's coming up. Hey, we're 4 or 5 months out. That's the goal. If you're 4 to 6 months out and people are saying, hey, when do I get to sponsor? Where's this stuff? Let's do this. Hey, you're doing it right. And I love that feeling where your sponsors are nudging you. Hey, let's go pick it up. We're ready. We want to be a part of this. Can we be your title sponsor this year? And you're like, slow down, bud.
Like, wait.
Yeah. I almost want to say too, right? Like, the energy, I love, like, when you talk about it, you can tell you're passionate about it. And that's the person that needs to be in the seat, like, when delivering to the sponsor, right? Like, so make sure you put your aces in places. So when you're when you're going
aces
after,
it's
from my restaurant industry manager training. But you know what I mean? Because if you put the wrong people in the place, maybe you don't get sponsored. So look at your team and look at who is going to be the Justin in it that can deliver to start the process, right? Of the nurturing, of the whatchamacall. So I think that's important. I mean, you can be like this, but if I deliver, like, I delight you. Yeah, I delight you.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean?
They're like, no, you
No, you
don't
don't.
delight me. No,
Right.
I'm sorry, but you don't delight me right now.
Yeah. No Napoleon Dynamite speak, you know?
So, so we did have one comment from Virginia that talks about how she delights her sponsor. She brings donuts, which I love, right? Brings donuts to show their support, not asking for anything, and then comes back later with a thank you note for support and an invitation to the event. So I love that approach, right? It's that nurturing process that you were talking about, Justin, where, you know, if you're not ready to ask up front, if they need to get to know you better, like you really have to be aware and be judging, like, where are you? I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I hate cold calls and I don't respond well to cold calls. Like if I don't know the person, they call me up asking for something, I'm like, I don't know you. I don't have time for this. I'm a busy woman. I got things going on. Right. And that I'm less inclined to then offer my support in whatever it is that they need. And so we just have to remember that with sponsorships, it's the exact same thing. You have to nurture that relationship. So, okay. So
And it does
last,
take a little time. You know, I would say you all
yeah.
have great brands, right? That you can do these Zoom conferences, you can create recorded videos, right? To be able to elevate these individuals that you want to be their sponsor. It needs to make sense, right? For your organization to have them as a sponsor, you're supporting the same mission, you know, you have the same vision, you know, you're working towards the same cause, right? And if that's there and those three elements are, you know, integrated properly, it should be no problem to be able to say, hey, would love to highlight you in your work or what your company's doing on X, Y, and Z. Could we do a live stream? Could we do a video? Could I do a post about you? You know, taking that approach with a potential prospect, right? A potential sponsor, they're going to be more open to the dialogue phase with you. And that ultimately is going to lead to, yeah, did you know I had a event? Or they're just going to see your posts and then they're going to say, hey, man, how come you didn't tell me about that event? Like, I want to hear all about that. I mean, you're holding out on me, you know, let's go, you know, type of thing. So,
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that when that happens, right? When you've done it right and they're coming to you to say, I don't know what you have going on, but how can I do something with you or for you or, you know?
Yes. So, okay. So you've led perfectly into the very last questions. I know we're at 30 minutes. I know, but I just have
This
to
is
ask,
good stuff.
what is your number one tip about asking for that sale, that sponsorship to get the yes? I mean, we've talked about some different things about nurturing and whatnot, but when you're there and you're ready to do the ask, what would you say to our small business owners?
I mean, this is going to happen, you know, as I work through, we'll call it the sales funnel. It's just working through the next call to be able to provide more and more information. You know, I would take the approach of, you know, at what investment level would you like, you know, to be a part of this event at? What makes sense for you? You know, if it's you just being there, then great, let's take that option. However, you know, there are 4 or 5 other options where, you know, I would love to see our relationship grow. And I hope that I can prove to you over the period of the next, you know, few months that I'll be able to elevate your brand and bring proper credibility to your organization. So I know that was the long-winded answer. There's really no specific, hey, this is
No. I'm
exactly
recording.
how you do it. 1
Yes.
+ 1 is 2.
Yes, I'm recording it and I'm gonna like attach that to future proposals. And we're like, first of all, here is a word from our inspiration. Thank you. And when we're done, we'll go on to me and Anna. No.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, so can I just steal basically exactly what he just said to say for our next like sponsorship ask Selena? Like,
No,
like
for sure.
the whole idea of like, if you want to just come and experience, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But we have these other levels, right? I love that you're inviting them regardless of whether or not they commit to your event.
Yeah.
That they're welcome and that they're part of that community, regardless of whether, you know, because it can get frustrating to have a lot of people saying no, no, no.
Yeah.
But it's that, you know, it's that I guess it would be called taking the higher road, or, just not letting that frustration level get to you, and
Mhm.
still being gracious and generous. Because even if you don't get a sponsorship that year, what does that bring you the next year?
Yes.
Right. And looking at that long-term plan instead of just the immediate here and now.
Yeah. No,
And
I want to. Yeah.
sponsors are looking at like the wins of organizations like
Mhm.
that are sponsors, right? So if I were you, I would have like, hey, three different types of
Yeah.
tiers of sponsors, and some of those are going to be the free sponsors. Hey, I want the 15-minute coffee chat here in a booth at my event, or I want Team Red, White, and Blue here at my event, right? There's no cost to that, right? Or, hey, I want Higher Military here to bring this genuine, authentic military transition piece, whatever the case may be, right? And then on the other side, you may have, hey, I want these Fortune 500 companies, I want 3 or 4 or 5. Hey, I want in the middle tier, I want a couple small businesses, so as you're looking through the different types of sponsors, as you're able to have conversations about your sponsorships with your potential sponsors. Hey, I already have, these 3 or 4 that are already sponsors, right? Now it's time for you to become a sponsor to join the group, right? So being able to showcase, hey, you already have sponsors to someone, it's going to make them, or it's going to make you more desirable, and they're going to want to be a part of it more because they're going to see you showcasing X, Y, and Z organization.
Justin, thank you so much. I know, right? Like, this
Yeah.
is such good information. I mean, we started this off talking about how small business owners, this is something that a lot of people have a hard time doing.
Mhm.
And as a small business owner, you think in your head, I can't possibly compete with, this competing business that has 10 employees, and I'm just a sole proprietor, right? It's that imposter syndrome feeling that
Yeah.
people get. And what you're saying is,
We all have it.
Yeah.
if you can give them the experience and the event, it doesn't matter how big of a company you are.
Yeah.
It's the experience, the exposure, it's making sure the impact that they need is there. And so I love that. Love it.
No, they're part of it. I look.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so much I wanted to say. Like, you brought me back to my days of like. I was our director of sales and marketing, but just like I would have to go and nurture. It's very similar to asking for sponsorship, nurture, but they were big accounts. Like, I would go to Delta Airlines, I would go to American Airlines, and I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Selena. You know what I mean? Like, let's be friends." And it would be like you mentioned it. It was like a year and a half, and I thought they'd wrote me off, but they emailed me, "Hey, I know it's been a bit, but I've been waiting for you." And I'm like, oh, and then they become you know what I mean? They became a client, but that's just like a sponsorship, right? And that happened a lot, but I had to continue to build the relationship. So I went in with no ultimate. I mean, it was like, hey, I just want to build it within my community. I want to add you to my Rolodex of people I know. And I love that you say that, right? Just keep do the nurturing, do the thing. And I'm so excited about this conversation. I'm like,
I know.
I'm like, yeah,
And
we
ask,
needed this.
I would say ask your network to help, right? 9 times out of 10, you're probably not. And you're like, oh, they're not going to want to share this. They're not commenting yet. How do I get them to start commenting? We're having conversations on a daily basis, about the mission that we serve and the vision that we have, right? So as you're looking at like, who is your resource group, right? That is going to help you make your event or your company successful. There's many layers in that, right? You have the people that are closest to you that are your friends, are your family. You have to ask them for help. Don't be bashful on asking for the help of sharing and spreading the great word of the mission that you're serving. You don't have to hit them up and say, hey, I want you to be a sponsor. I need you to buy a shirt. However, asking them that and letting them know, I would love it if you were part of, building this great thing, right? And as you continue to look out and you're thinking, hey, I'm bootstrapping, I don't have much money, how can I find people to help me, whether that's volunteer, an apprentice, a fellow, right? Those are individuals that you can help position them. They're looking for work. ask for that. Do a LinkedIn post saying, hey, I have a volunteer position open. I would love to be able to help you shape your resume, put this position on it, and it may help you land that marketing job that you're looking for, right? Another layer is these influencers that we have, just like you, Anna, Selena, and the 15-minute coffee chat, right? Invite them, right, to interact with your brand or be part of their brand so you can both elevate each other. Most likely that's not going to cost money. So now you've garnered support, you're raising awareness, right? That stuff, if you're looking at different vendors and marketing companies and advertising companies, that costs a lot of money to be able to facilitate those type of interactions. So keep, looking at, hey, how do I bootstrap? How do I say, how do I garner support, from the network and the resource groups that you have, the influencers that are literally a DM away? Ask them. And then, start looking at who are the small businesses, right, that I'm connected with. Are they veterans, military spouse businesses, or do they operate, in the same world that I do? Would they be able to give me, because I need these services, would they give me a slight discount, versus like me going and spending thousands of dollars? They may discount you, for a big package deal, hundreds or thousands of dollars. And then you're helping lift their organization too. And then that's after that, after you've exhausted those layers, then I would look at, okay, do I need to, buy specific software, buy this subscription, get this program, because a lot of that cost, there are some free trial versions, and then you can start assessing vendors after that. But for the most part, I think, with the people that you can bring into your organization, the volunteer work that you have, the influencers, right, and other small businesses, you can do a lot with very little, and make a huge impact. And then as you're growing and your sponsors come on board, then you can grab and dial into those software programs and the subscriptions and the various vendors to make your brand blossom more.
Justin, do you sell a program of how to be Justin? Like, is there a program there? Because I think it would sell. Honestly, I think you know what I mean, providing the process and systems, because sometimes people are like that, right? Like they just need a process to follow and they inject their personality in it, and sometimes it's like not knowing where to start. But I really, you've given me a lot of places to, like, I mean, I've done sponsorship asks, but you've given me new ideas and really fresh ones, to be honest, that I'm like, hi, I want to be on a team right now. Like, let's go hunt for some sponsors and nurture. You know what I mean?
Yes, and that's what I love too, Selena. These weren't these weren't stale sponsorship plans that we've been doing for the last 20 years. I mean, I've been marketing for over 20 years now, right? And this was really good, like what works today for today's company. You brought in the authenticity, the nurturing relationships, the networking, things that are so important in today's corporate world, right? As far as like relationships go. And so I just thank you, Justin. This has been such good information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Oh, did he freeze? Let's
I
see.
think he's
He'll come.
frozen.
Well, we're gonna go like this, and then
Yes.
maybe he'll pop back in, or maybe he hears us. It's okay. This
Yes.
is what technology. I mean, we got 44 minutes of him, so if that's all we had, we got good stuff, you guys.
We did.
So, well, how about this, Anna? I'm gonna bring this up.
Yes.
And let's talk about toolkit. And if Justin is able to jump back in, he can join us for this conversation. But go ahead, Anna. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, so our toolkit today is Canva. And one of the things that Justin uses, and then both Selena and I use heavily when it comes to creating some of those graphically pleasing marketing sponsorship packages, plus the things you might want to be offering your sponsors, you need a graphics program, And so one of the most efficient and effective and cost effective for small businesses is Canva. And a pro account, I think, is just a little over $100 a year, which is, very affordable for most small businesses.
Yeah.
And Canva it's continuing to improve. I mean, in the last few years that we've used it, it's now got a massive amount of more tools that will support really amazing graphic
Yeah.
creations than it did, even just a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
if you do not have a Canva account, they do offer a free account that you can try out and just see what it's like. And see how you like it. It is super user friendly. You do not have to be a graphics designer. And on top of it, you have thousands of templates that you can use so you don't even have to like have the creative, innovative brain juice in order to create really nice graphics.
Yeah, because I think, yes, I'm with you. It's, it's first impressions sometimes, right? And if this proposal is a first impression because you haven't had an opportunity to, delight them or friend them prior to sending a proposal, I think it's important that you put your best foot forward, get that red lipstick on and be bold and, go slay it. Have a decent proposal.
Exactly.
And then I want to mention that, Justin had said to us that he uses Proposals.io. Is that right, Anna? I
don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was proposal something. When we share his fishing retreat link, they'll be able to look and see what he uses for his sponsorships.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. And Anna, I think she's putting our blog into the comments. I think you put it in our private chat, Miss Anna.
Yes, I did. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the blog where you can find all the information about Justin's fishing retreat that he has coming up. Again, this is happening in Virginia. It is a Veterans Day fishing retreat. I saw all of the pictures from last year and the video. It's a gorgeous property. It's an amazing event. If you are military affiliated, veteran affiliated, it's a wonderful event to sponsor or to attend. So go check it out. I did just drop it into all the different chats. So please feel free to click on that link. It's going to take you to our blog. And then also on that blog, I'm going to update it because Justin did send us right before the show started. He handed us just like a Google Doc about how to attract sponsors. It's got some really good information in it that we're just going to put verbatim. I think we're just going to add it to our blog. So you kind of have Justin's thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Everything you just talked about kind of rolled up in just a little, some bullet points for you, which I think will be super useful.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. So, like Anna said, go drop right there. She put the link. You'll see it on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, all the things.
All the places.
And I think this is really great information. So, and attend or just support his event by just liking the event, sharing the event. Remember, he mentioned that earlier. And maybe sharing the event just helps this event get more light shined on it. I haven't had enough coffee this morning.
Exactly.
All right, Anna. So we're sad that Justin, I know he said his internet was maybe possibly going to be spotty, but this is how you can continue to connect with Justin is his website, properpatriot.com. And you can find his company on LinkedIn or just look up Justin Pearson because I think he's fabulous. Like, I think the information he gave today was so freaking fantastic. Can I say that word, Anna? Am I allowed?
You absolutely can.
Okay.
In fact, the reason Justin's on our show is because he is a master networker. And I connected with Justin in some roundabout way. And, he is so good at networking and he is very welcoming, for new networks, new connections and whatnot. So highly recommend reaching out to Justin. He's not going to turn you away. Let me just put it that way.
He's going to bring you in and say, let's have a cookie.
Yeah.
Or coffee. I don't know. So, all right. Okay, Anna, what's our tip jar of the day?
Our tip jar today comes from Caitlin Eldridge of Eldridge CPA LLC. She says, take time to calculate your profit margin per client. Then look to raise rates or let your clients go to reach your profit margin goals. This is so smart, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those hard things. You think you have to have every client, but guess what? If a client is costing you more than you're making from them, it's time to raise your rates or it's time to let them go and find somebody that can help support them on their budget line. Because you might not be that person any longer. So good tip for small business owners who, want to
a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Thanks, Caitlin. All right, Anna. I'll let you
Okay.
into this is your special part.
Yes, it is. So next week's guest, we have Suleika Gonzalez, which I'm very excited about. So I connected with Suleika on LinkedIn, and she is a prolific poster and just a wonderful human being all the way around. She is a virtual assistant. She's going to be talking about what a virtual assistant can really offer a small business owner. And this is part of that time to scale, time to grow kind of conversation. When you're doing all the things and it might be time to bring someone on, what can they do for you?
Yeah.
And where can they support you? And how can they do it well? So we're excited to have Suleika on. As always, you can find Anna and Selena and the 15-ish minute coffee chat in all the places, annaandselena.com, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or your favorite podcast platform, because all of our episodes and sessions we do download onto a podcast so that you can listen to it during your morning walk or on a long car ride or whenever and wherever you are going.
Yes. Anna, seriously, I heart you so much.
Love you too.
Thanks for being my buddy. And can you believe, real fast, just before we end it, this is our 90th episode.
I know. This is crazy.
Who are we? I mean, I said that on my reels, but I'm like, I'm excited and I don't feel tired about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm excited about who we'll have coming on later. But
Yep.
Anyway, great show. I'm glad you're home from tarantulas and I don't know, whatever else is out there.
Thank you, everyone, for jumping in and watching today. We really appreciate it. We will see you next week on the 15-ish minute coffee chat.